Welcome, everybody, to the newest edition of the Bronx Muchachos podcast. I'm your host, Mark, and tonight we got a couple of the boys. We got Alex,
Happy Festivus Eve, everybody.
and we got Danny.
Was good, everybody.
All right, everyone, you guys know the drill. Rate, subscribe, like, review, all that fun stuff on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, Amazon, Odyssey, all that fun stuff. You guys know where to find us. And also remember, go to our link tree, which is link.tree/real Bronx Muchachos for any and all deals we got going on. It's Christmas time. Don't forget, hit up lids, get yourself jerseys, hats, all that fun stuff. We have our own merch over there. If you want to get your wife, get your boyfriend, get whomever else, get anything for anybody from those spots as well. So, boys, we've had a heck of a week so far. Judge fully officially resigned as the captain, 16th captain in our history.
Mm-hmm.
Today, this morning, we got Carlos Rodon coming in, number 55 for us. So with all those Christmas gifts we've been getting early, we got one major thing we got to talk about. Who's going to be playing left field for the New York Yankees in 2023, possibly beyond?
Mm.
That's without making trades, without a lot of other issues that we've talked about in the past. That's the big glaring hole. Because as of right now, you got two possibilities, which is Aaron Hicks and putting Oswaldo Cabrera out there. And as much as everyone liked Cabrera, his biggest attributes and his main focus and where he has the most juice on the Yankees is his versatility, being the super utility player that he is, playing second, short, third, corner outfields, wanting to learn first base, wanting to learn catcher, stepping in at center field like that. That's his spot. He can play. He can get 300 at bats by playing everywhere, and he is good enough that he can go everywhere as well. But there's so many left possibilities of left fielders out there, which is crazy. The one that we're all talking about right now, or everyone's really debating, is Brian Reynolds.
Mm-hmm.
And for me personally, I'm gonna take a hard pass on him. But that's my opinion. I don't think he's worth the juice because to get him. It's not worth giving up one of either Dominguez, Wells, or Pereira as one on one side of it. Then also having to add in a starting pitcher, which would be Luis Heel, Beater, Will Warren, and then you got to add two more on top of that. Like they're looking for the Juan Soto deal, and he's not a Juan Soto guy to me. He's had his best year was 2019 with juiced baseballs, and ever since then, it's kind of been dropping down a little bit. So for me, I'm not looking for him on my team, especially on under 2 years of control. He's 28 years old right now. No thanks, man. I'm gonna pass. I'll pass on him. Dan, what do you think about that? I know you've said before you wanted Reynolds. You've made it clear. I don't know if you have you changed your stance on him, or you're still all in on him?
I'm all about winning now. I want to win. I want to take advantage of the prime that we have for Garrett Cole, for Aaron Judge. Giancarlo's kind of getting towards the end of the road. Rizzo is still kind of getting towards the end of his prime. I want to capitalize on the win now, and this is a win now team. At the same time, we have to be smart with how we spend our prospects, right? Brian Reynolds had a pretty good year last year, 27 homers, 2.9 WAR, but is that 2.9 WAR warranted a J-Dom? Is that warranted a Volpe or Peraza or Pereira, any of our top prospects? It's still debatable because we hope that J-Dom could be something like a Reynolds. We hope that Pereira could be like Brian Reynolds. Brian Reynolds right now will help this team win. But I'm not willing to pay the price that it would take. If they're talking about Juan Soto deal, he's not Juan Soto. Like Juan Soto is one of the best players in baseball. He's one of the best left-handed players in baseball. He gets on base, had a 400 clip. Brian Reynolds is not doing that for you. He's not going to give you outstanding defense in left field. He's going to give you, average defense, especially in Yankee Stadium. So I would pass just based on the price. And that's about. I love the player that he is, but I don't want to pay that premium of a price. It's too much.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
What about you, Alex? What's your thoughts on that?
See, I'm in the conflicted area as well. Like, I strongly want to pass on it. I strongly want to pass on it because it's like, because what Yankee Twitter and everything else you're hearing out there about these prices, it's like it's astronomical. And I'm like, and it's the off season. I'm like, I'm not a numbers guy. That's not my thing to care about. I care about baseball. I care about what's going on the field. I'm not caring about the numbers and all that kind of stuff and all the trade proposals. I'm not big into that. So it's like, it's crazy what I'm seeing. And it's like, it kind of is a little bit weird that people are like, oh yeah, let's just trade away the farm for people. It's like, I don't want to do that either. I kind of want to care for the future, but I got that area where it's like, I want to win. I do want a championship. And I don't know. I'm not the man who knows what's going to happen. I'm not the fortune teller over here with the crystal ball to say, oh yeah, this is the piece that's going to make us get the championship. And we are going to be happy again for the rest of Aaron Judge's time as captain. Like that, I'm going to be like, we're going to be seeing wins and wins and wins and wins. I don't know. None of us know that. So I'm kind of like right there in the middle. I'm like, I'm 50-50. I'm going to be 50-50 on this one. And if it gives us a championship a year from now, heck yeah, that was the best move that they made. If we don't have a championship next year and we didn't get him, it is what it is. And if we did get him, well then, damn it, we didn't get a championship. Guess what, buddy? You got one more year. You out. You ain't staying.
No.
As easy as that.
Well, we retweeted on our page.
Yes, we did.
The last I forgot who made that report. It might be JP Morosi, but he said that the Pirates want a starting pitching prospect. We gave up literally all of our pitching prospects at the trade deadline. We don't have any more top tier pitching prospects. Wazinski's gone. Waldichuk is gone. Luis Hill's hurt. Man, who's the hard throwing righty? Medina, he's gone. So there's not a lot of guys that we could be like, hey, dream on this dude. Clayton Beater, Will Warren, those are kind of like mid-level tier dudes. So in order for the Yankees to even thinking about acquiring a guy like Reynolds, it's going to require a third team. And just looking at the top tier pitching prospects in baseball, you're talking about Yuri Perez with the Marlins. The Marlins not going to give him up for nothing. Like, the Marlins would need something significant in return that the Yankees will most likely have to give up. So the chances of us getting Reynolds, unless we give up J-Dom, the left-handed bat,
Wells.
Mark remind me, not Wells.
Sweeney?
Spencer Jones. Jones.
Oh no, Spencer Jones ain't. I don't think Spencer Jones is going anywhere. I think I've heard too much. The things I keep hearing about Spencer Jones, that the Yankees love him too much, that they're rating him ahead of Dominguez right now. That everything that everything they're teaching him at the instructionals, that he's grasped and has pushed forward. So like him, I see him starting at like high A ball next year, and then just and as long as he takes to it and just rides and it just shoots up through the system fast, because he's an SEC, like you said, he's an SEC guy. Before we talked about this last week, he's an SEC guy. He's gonna, he's got everything. He's passed the Tommy John surgery that he had, so the arm strength has come back. I mean, he's not, he's 6'7", but he's not Aaron Judge, where he's like fully built up, like strong, like a football player 6'7". He's only like 220, 215, 220. Maybe, after the season, he puts on another 10 pounds of muscle or something like that. Now we're talking 230, maybe 235. And he's still fleet of foot out there and plays center field. I mean, that's stuff you dream on right there.
Yeah.
In college, he had crazy high exit velocities in the 120 mile an hour off the bat.
I saw a lot of Andy games. Spencer Jones is that bat is going to play. But just in terms of the landscape of pitching prospects in baseball, like Grayson Rodriguez, the top right-handed pitcher, Yuri Perez, all those dudes are not going to be traded. And they're definitely not going to be traded to help the Yankees out. Daniel Espino from the Guardians, Taj Bradley, those dudes are 3 and 4. Like those are the type of guys that you would trade in a Brian Reynolds deal. Look at Mackenzie Gore. Mackenzie Gore has been teetering on being like a big league starter for years for San Diego, and that's who they had to give up for Juan Soto. The Yankees don't have anybody like that, and none of these teams. Miami's not looking to sell Yuri Perez. Baltimore is not selling on Grayson Rodriguez. The Guardians, they love pitching. They love developing pitching. They got the number 3 right-handed pitching prospect in all baseball. They're not going to give that up. So the chances of getting
you're right.
Are slim.
No, the only way like Miami's giving up Yuri Perez is if they're getting like a Juan Soto type guy back because they need so many bats down there. It's not funny.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, you get like a Mike Trout bat, a Bryce Harper bat, like that kind of bat. You get something like that, then I can see them giving a Yuri Perez up. But until that point, he's staying down there. They'll look to get rid of the Pablo Lopez's and the Cabreras down there and what have you. You know what I mean? Like those, Sandy staying. Sixto has got the shoulders too messed up right now. They to move like Yuri Perez and Sixto and Sandy. Sorry, I was blanking on Sandy for a minute there. Like those, that's kind of the backbone of that 1-2-3, and that 1-2-3 can ride with against anybody in the world.
Yeah,
but
no facts.
All right. Well, I got a question for you, gentlemen. Okay, and this was actually one of our polls. It's: are you willing to give up J-Dom, Peraza, and Volpe in a Brian Reynolds deal?
Hell no.
Okay.
No.
How about you? Okay. Well, to our listeners, right now we have it as yes, win now, 61.4%. No chance, 38.6%. That is how our viewers are going.
Yeah, and it was going to be one of those 3 dudes. It was going to be one of those 3. Like not even all 3, just one.
One.
And people are like, yeah, get rid of. But who will be the one for me? I wish Dave was here. I really do. The one for me would be Peraza because Volpe could still play short, and I still want J-Dom. But if I were to get rid of somebody,
I don't know.
In a Reynolds deal, it would be Peraza.
I don't know. I really don't know about the whole J-Dom deal anymore. Like, yes, I've been beating the horse on keeping J-Dom because my last name is Dominguez, and I wanted Dominguez to be a Yankee, so that way I could buy a jersey that says that's a Dominguez number. I'm like, yeah, that's my number. Boom. But that's just my own personal narcissistic reasoning. But yeah, I don't want to trade J-Dom yet, but I feel we are going to need to trade J-Dom because it's turning into that by the time he is ready, there might not be a spot for him on the club, that we might need to trade him away because it's looking that way. Like we have Judge forever. Let's be real. We got John Carlos forever.
John Carlos is there for 5 more years. That's
a forever for right now. Right now, that's a forever.
You're right, but he don't play the field. So think of it this way: think of the outfield as it stands right now. Judge is secure in right field. There's nobody else going right field right now.
Right or center, depending whatever they want to do that day.
But Bader is only here for 1 more year. And then you got left field, which is Hicks is movable, and then you got you can fill in with Cabrera. So if they don't make another move, Dominguez is in Double-A right now, and he's supposed to start the season Double-A. He can theoretically speaking, he can be ready for 2024. Spencer Jones could be ready for 2024 as well. So
that's kind of exciting.
So I have to. So wait, Mark. You're telling me, the Yankee fan that wants a championship like 9 years ago. Okay, you're telling me that's like, oh, I have to wait 1 more year.
So I got something. I got something for you,
bro.
No, I got something for you. That's not gonna. This one is not gonna cost you Dominguez. Not gonna cost you Jones or anything like that. You can take a flyer, a 1+1 on Michael Conforto. Okay. 1 year, give him another year option. Give him like 10 to in between 10 to 15 with and give him incentives to bump it up to to more like the Bellinger deal. I
Okay.
keep hearing that the Yankees and him have been haven't been talking too much, but the Cubs are in on him. So if the Cubs are in on him, we bring it back to a guy who I wanted from last year, and I know Brian Cashman wanted when he originally made the deal to send Chapman over to the Cubs, which is Ian Happ. And Ian Happ's on a 1-year deal, and he's a switch hitter, and he's got that pedigree, and him and Rizzo are tight, and he could play in the big city, and he's an outfielder. So tell me, having Ian Happ out in left field, and it's not, and the Yankees and Cubs like doing deals together. It's not,
Wow.
for a 1-year
Mark.
deal, it's not gonna
Mark.
it's not gonna cost you J Dom. It might cost you a Wells, which I'm
Guys,
okay with. It might
guys
cost you
know me.
it might cost you a Pereira. I'm okay with that too. You give up a Pereira, you can give up
Mhm.
like and you give up like a beater, or you give up a Will Warren, maybe even someone else in the down the line in the system. Why not?
I have another deal here, Mark. I've been thinking about this all day. We have the deepest rotation in baseball, which we're going to touch upon a little bit later, right? That makes the Bengal Harmon expendable. That makes Clark Schmidt expendable, right? I love Ian Happ. We spoke about this last year at the deadline. I wanted him really bad. Mark and I we're seeing eye to eye on this one. Ian Happ, Gold Glover this year, 4.4 WAR, right? Switch hitter, 17 homers, and he's a good hitter. He's a hitter first over that power. 17 homers, 72 RBIs. I think he had around 260 or 270, which you would think without a shift is going to go up, right? He's a good hitter, and that's from both sides of the plate. And he can handle left field in Yankee Stadium, being a Gold Glove defender right now. I would suggest I will hit up the Cubs. If you look at the Cubs starting rotation, it's not impressive, right? You got Tyone, not Tyone. Well, Tyone is in that rotation right now, but you got Marcus Stroman leading it, right? Kyle Hendricks following him up. Tyone is elevated to a number 3 starter there. And then you got the lefty Justin Steele, who's a rookie. He's been up and down. And Keegan Thompson, who the Cubs really do like. But what if we get a package centered around Herman or Schmidt, right? Whoever they choose. And then you throw in maybe a Pereira, maybe a Wells. But I'm not going to go any deeper than that. Give him a major league starter right now. That's going to slide into that 4 spot. Schmidt or Herman could slide into that 4 spot for the Cubs. Maybe, they're not going to take on Hicks because of the money and because of the years. But a guy like
Because
Pereira.
nobody wants Hicks.
Well, yeah.
Well, there's teams that want Hicks. There's teams that want
that,
Hicks.
yeah. Mm-hmm. But I don't think the Cubs are one of those teams.
Japan's one of those teams.
Yeah.
The Rockies, my friend.
No, somebody.
Rockies want him, and I'll touch on that after you talk, Danny.
Yeah, but center a deal around the dudes that are going to be our 6th, 7th, 8th starters in the big leagues. That for the Cubs would be their 3, 4. So and kind of go from there. But Ian Happ would fit perfectly into this lineup.
I'm all for it, man. Like you said, we're right here, Danny.
Yeah, 100%.
Give me Ian Happ. I mean, right now it's a 1-year deal.
Mm-hmm.
If he proves himself, then boom, then you can extend him, and then you deal with that later on, because then you have the choices to make of do you keep Dominguez, do you keep Jones, do you keep this person, do you keep that person? I mean, at that point, then you'll play the game along the way. But like you said, everyone's getting a year older, so like I said, the baby bombers that we all were talking about, that window is closed. This is a new window that's got to open up for them.
Mm-hmm. Like, but, I'm all with you guys all the way. I'm like, all before you close the door, Mark, on this, I'm all with you guys, and I am all for everything you guys said. But as a fan, I don't care what happens. I just want to see a championship. I want to see ticker tape parade going on in the city. That's what I want to see. I want to see little boys and girls skipping school to be down there and watching stuff and watching everything going on. That's what I want.
I have another question, and I feel like I'll probably put this on Twitter a little bit later. But who's going to make a bigger impact for this Yankees team, Brian Reynolds or Ian Happ? and we have to take a strong look at that. Like, if you look behind the numbers, Ian Happ has a 4.4 WAR. He has a Gold Glove. He's been an All-Star. Brian Reynolds, he has the power, yes, but the defense is not as good as Happ, and Happ is a little bit more versatile. So,
And with Brian Reynolds, his numbers have been declining since 2019. Like he's not the same player. His range is defensively, his range isn't there.
Yeah.
So why do I want to spend? I go back to this. I'm not spending top dollar for a declining asset.
Mhm.
So
in 21, Brian Reynolds, just for, I know we love to use batting average. I hate batting average, but everyone seems to enjoy it. Brian Reynolds hit 302 in 2021. Then he dropped down to 262 in 2022. His OPS, which is a stat that I love, dropped 105 points from 2021. He had a 912 OPS to 807 in 2022.
Yeah, the numbers are showing it, like you're saying. The numbers are showing that he's declining. So if the numbers are showing that he's declining, and he's 28, correct me if I'm wrong?
I have it right here.
Yeah, he's 20. I think he's 28 years old.
If he's
28, I don't math very well. Hold on.
Well, let's say he is 28. You'll tell me in a second, though.
27, but he'll be 28 this year.
Okay, so he's going to be 28. So, and he's declining. He hasn't been making any improvements for himself to be a all-star caliber player, and in the Pirates. Like, come on, man. Like, it's not like he's over there with competition. Like, I'm sorry. Like, oh my gosh, I'm playing on the Pittsburgh Pirates. Like, you could put any of our starters, anyone in our lineup in the Pittsburgh Pirates, they're gonna be batting at 400. Like, because they're like, oh well, this is the best guy they got on the team. I guess we'll take it. It's like it was a Mike Trout type of thing. We know Mike Trout's good, bro, but he ain't gonna make it to the playoffs.
Bro, they got Miggy, and he was batting like cleanup for them, and it hit like 120. But whatever.
Speaking of these the stopgaps options, Dave hit us up in the chat. Dave was saying, other than Conforto, then you have Ramil Tapia, who played for Toronto last year, McCutcheon, AJ Pollock, Kevin Pillar, Adam Engel, Adam Duvall, Robbie Grossman, Tommy Pham, Tyler Naquin, not Taylor, excuse me.
None of those guys move the needle. The only guy that sounds interesting is Robbie Grossman, but
yeah, but sounds gross at the same time.
I mean, if you go down that, if you're gonna go to those guys, then why not do a off the wall deal instead? And as I was saying, Alex, what I was saying to you before, that Colorado has interest in Hicks. Why not try to package Hicks and try to throw in Donaldson's contract to Colorado and take on their bad contract in Chris Bryant? It's a tough one. It's a tough pill to swallow.
Especially with the years.
It's the year. Yeah, I mean, he's got 6 years left on that deal, because he already had
something atrocious. He had a really bad year.
He had an injury plagued year. I think it was he got 6 for 126 or something like that. 7 for 126 he did. I think that was ridiculous. His deal. I think that was his deal. But even at 6 years left, and I think he's at about 20 something a year. I mean, it's cheaper. It's you're taking on you're taking on more. You're taking on the bigger contract for 5 more years of him, or for 6 years, excuse me, while getting rid of Donaldson, while getting rid of Hicks, and it's just you're stealing from Paul to pay Peters, however that expression goes.
I think it's Paul to pay
Robin Peter to pay
Paul. Yeah, here we go. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, even that kind of deal, but it still has a problem. It still has the biggest problem that I have, is that it still keeps the Yankees too right-handed.
It does. I was going to bring that up.
I'm tired of there's so many right-handed bats on this team. It's too much. It's too many. 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 There needs to be a change. We need to have the left-handed bats coming through.
It's like I brought up the whole Chris Bryant stuff, like when you just brought him up, and like just looking at WAR career wise, 29.2 for him with our Aaron Hicks having a 13.8 like for a career. So I'm like, I could see why a person will want him. But then I'm also looking at, like you said, righty. We are just gonna be continue living to sliders outside. Is that are gonna be our life? Like,
Well, first off, Alex, you wanted Chris Bryant really bad last year. Don't forget that. All right.
I did, but
let's not forget that fact. All right.
I did, but I'm also looking at it logistically, like legitimately, like through a whole season. Like, what was I smoking?
Yeah.
I do know what I was probably smoking, but let's be real.
I think we all know what you were smoking.
I was in Colorado myself. Let's just put it that way. But no, like we have too many righties on our team. Like, let's be real. Like, I don't want to have our team be demolished by teams that decide to just live on the outside corner and we're never hitting it. Like, I'm sorry.
I think this is a pipe dream just because I don't think Colorado's gonna take on that money. But it is a nice thought to have, especially if they could unload his contract and kind of reset. But Chris Bryant is better than Josh Johnson offensively, and we need offense to compete. We need offense to compete. Period. We need Giancarlo to get healthy. We need LeMahieu to get healthy. We need another solid year from Judge, but we're not going to get anywhere without offense, and we need to find ways to improve the offense, but still maintain a good defensive team because that's what led us to win 99 games. The defense, the pitching and defense wins games, especially being strong up the middle, and we'll be doing that with Bader, Trevino, potentially Peraza, and Volpe. But it'll be cool. I think. If I had to choose, I prefer Bryant over Donaldson.
Yeah,
I think at this point everyone's choosing that. But here's a thought I randomly had, and this trade is different altogether.
how random are we going?
Oh, we go down the rabbit holes here. How about we trade IKF down to Atlanta and
Let's do it. I don't care. Let's just do it. I don't care.
They have two youngsters. Their farm system's not that great, but you get this guy Glod and McCabe,
Did you
lefty
say God?
Glod, GLOD.
Oh, it sounded like you said God. I was like, what?
It would be just like when you get the players back called first name Adonis, right? But I'm just saying, like you get a couple of you get a young pitcher and a young international kind of chip from the 2020 or 2021 period, and they're more like a lottery tickets that you get get IKF down there. You get $6 million off the books. You free up a spot because look at just as we speak right now, the infield is Rizzo, it's Torres, it's IKF, it's Donaldson, it's Peraza, it's LeMahieu. At some point this year, it's going to be Volpe. Then you got also Cabrera up there, and it's 8 guys. And out of those 8 guys, as we were just talking about before, being right-handed, 6 of them are right-handed bats. That's way, for the infield, that's way too many right-handed bats right there. So, I think, and going back to what you were saying about DJ, they said the toe is healed, 100% ready for spring training. So he's going to be, he should be raring to go. So that means that if that's the case, then you're going to see then 2 of those guys have to leave. Of those guys, I'm talking about Donaldson, IKF, and Torres. And with Torres, Torres has got to be the bigger piece to a puzzle. Because if you really want to make a deal, then put Torres for Reynolds, and you can maybe put a smaller prospect in for that, and that should be an easy enough deal to make. Because they're pretty much the same kind of caliber kind of guys. Both had great 2019s, and then went on a downward swing since then.
Although Glaber's been more than average. He's been average. He's been a
Well,
good player.
no,
Yeah.
no, I'm not saying he's not a good player, but
This year.
yeah, well, this year he came back up where you know what I'm saying, but he came back up in 2020 too,
Mhm.
when Reynolds had a better 2021. I'm just saying that
Mhm.
after 2019, they're both those guys are not the same players that they were in 2019 when the power numbers were there, and then everyone was really going full tilt for those two. I think.
Oh, go ahead, Mark.
No, I was
You
just
finish
saying.
your point.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think that one, they both need to change scenery. I think that they both have now figured out that the power numbers, they're not going to be these 30 plus home run guys anymore. So a change of scenery is going to be good for them. I'm just not so the Glaber at second base defense is adequate for me. I'm fine with him there. I like him there. Reynolds, I'm just is the range just keeps diminishing, and I don't want that. I'm not spending money on having a diminished asset out there. And I can't get past that part.
No. And to let our viewers know about Douglas Glod over from the Braves that Mark mentioned, he's 17. He's down the DSL right now for the Braves. He was signed out of Venezuela for $1.3 million. Right now, this is what scouts are saying. He's an above average runner. He can handle center field for the time being. He's a bit undersized and stocky, so there isn't much projection in his frame. But at 17, you could grow into that, being a center fielder, kind of being athletic and seeing what he could do. He throws right-handed and he bats right-handed, so they expect him knocking on the door to big leagues in 2026. His best tool right now is his run, and at 55 on the 80 scale, and 50 on the hit scale on the hit. So power's really not there, but arm, fielding, all about average. So if we could turn IKF into like a big league average outfielder, to be like a fourth outfielder, that would be cool. That would be cool. I would definitely be looking ahead.
Yeah. And the other guy I mentioned was his name is David McCabe, and he was drafted 2022. He's a switch hitter, and he plays the corner infield, third base, first base. And they were saying he's a better batter as a left-handed batter. But he's got a little power behind him. So I mean, he's known for being patient, drawing walks. So I mean, that kind of fits into what the Yankees always do. They like having deep at bats. They like seeing the pitches. So if he can control the strike zone and moving forward, it's not a bad move. I mean, and he's a down the line kind of guy. So I mean, the projection is he's not going to really play a lot of third base. It's going to be mostly first base. So in a few years we're going to have that option of figuring out what our first base option is going to be. I mean,
yeah, we need depth there, 100%. And honestly, who wants to be a switch hitting third baseman in the Braves organization? Like nobody wants to be in the shadow of Chipper Jones, one of the best switch hitters of all time.
Well, third base is all locked up for them. I mean, they got Austin Riley there.
Austin
Riley's there, so there's no place for them. They have to have first. They have to move those guys to first base.
And they do need insurance for Von Grissom. They don't know what he's going to be. Like, sure, he did okay at second, but why not bring a guy like IKF that could play short and third for you and be like a legit utility dude? And you're giving up two dudes who are just protect. I like that trade a lot, and that makes a lot of sense because they have somewhat of a need and send off two dudes that are like lottery tickets. We don't know
lottery
what they're
tickets.
Gonna be. Yeah, I'm cool with that. And get rid of IKF and give us some relief with that. I never have to see him again.
I've been saying that.
Yeah.
We have all been saying that for
Mark. What's gonna happen when Peraza makes an error on opening day? I want to know what you're gonna say. Is that it for him or what?
They brought him up too soon.
That's it.
I'll say this, man. If he made that play in the first ball hit to him in the postseason when they wouldn't play him, they sat him. I think he'll be doing just fine. And then later on in the game when he made that charging ball, which everyone this as well as I do, that is the hardest ball for an infielder, a young infielder to do. And not just that, he didn't didn't put the glove down. He backhanded it and fired, which is something you don't see anybody do. And he just made it look flawless.
Yeah, and guess who was great at that for 20 years? Well, I have it wrong. Yeah, this guy, the captain, right? Derek Jeter made that play look easy. Like every kid growing up playing shortstop in Little League in New York, they're trying to charge the ball and they can't do it because Derek Jeter made that play look so easy. That and the jump play. Oh
yeah.
Man.
Oh yeah, everyone wants to do the jump play.
Yeah.
But speaking of,
I try to do the jump play, but then my big fat butt didn't do a good job at it.
Well, changing gears for a second, we're talking shortstops here. You know, we talked about this past week how the Yankees got officially re-signed Judge. We officially signed Rodon. You know, there was a little 24 hours of absolute chaos going on with Carlos Correa not just changing teams, but he decided to change coasts. he went from being a San Francisco Giant, and then they stopped and said that they canceled the press conference for him because they didn't like something that they saw in the medicals, which reading they said it was something in 2014. He broke his leg in 2014, and they didn't like how that leg healed, and they thought that it was going to be problems for him going forward. With a 13, what was it? He did what? 13? It was a 13-year deal or something like that. They had 13 years. They got to get. And Big Buck Stevie Cohen comes in and goes, "Okay, I'll give you 12. I'll give you 12 for $315 because he's got to take a little discount because of the medical problem now." So, man, that's great. I'll say this. We're Yankee podcast. I think Steve Cohen's great for baseball because it shows that it's telling the Marlins, telling the Rays, it's telling all these other teams that cry poverty, that they cry wolf, and they do this, they do that. Make your team, if you put product on the field to play, you're going to do well. You know, you don't need $60 million like the Rays do every year in, year out, that they keep the payroll there because they whine and cry about not having a stadium, but they don't want to do they don't do much to the stadium that they have to begin with.
Bro, I'm loving Steve Cohen too, because what's going to be great is like in 5 years right now, like their farm system is going to be depleted because they traded everything away. They're like, they have a luxury checks of like 800 million, and they're like, why haven't we won a World Series yet? We have Mike Trout and Sony Hitani as well. Why don't we have anything yet?
Dude, their payroll this year, I think the payroll is at 370 something.
I'm not even care about the payroll. I'm talking about the tax.
Oh yeah, after 293, the tax is at like 100% or something. He's gonna write a bill for almost $500 million this year, taxes included. 500 million. 500
They're gonna be like,
and he's in there going, no problem.
He
goes, I'll get you that. And I got next year set up too.
I love it for baseball. It's great. Yo, he's about to give $100 million in the benefit in taxes.
Luxury tax, like the crazy luxury tax.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
$100 million.
100. Yeah, there's something like it's crazy. And just to put this in context, the next highest payroll is the New York Yankees at 200. I think they're right at the 293 marker. Mm-hmm. I think that goes to 293 when Canely officially signs. So right now they're in like the 270s as well. But it's wild, man. It's wild what he's doing. And Correa, and this is my thing. Correa turns around, it's like, okay, I'll move to third base. Man, if you turn around and we didn't make the deal last year for Donaldson, IKF, and Rovit, guess what? You could have Gio expendable. Sanchez could be doing whatever he's doing right now. We could have kept him. We could have extended him. We could have traded him off as well separately. But you could have made a play and gotten Carlos Correa and had him at third base and let Peraza play shortstop.
I'm good. I'm not. No, I'm good.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. At third, I think Correa at third base is a better idea than Correa at shortstop.
I agree with you entirely.
Mind you, he won a platinum glove before, like the previous year.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I agree with you. Yes, on all those counts. But guess what? One count. San Francisco had a hiccup in there with something that had to do physically wise. Came up. Mets did what the Mets do. They just said, F it, we're going all in. Okay, I'm sorry. The Giants found something in there. There's something going on with Carlos Correa that we're gonna see next year or the year after pop up, and then we're gonna be like, well, damn, Carlos Correa was effed up anyway. And then we're gonna be like, looks like Steve Cohen did exactly what the Mets do. Spent money on something that's gonna be nothing. Congratulations, congratulations. You are now the new Bobby Bonilla day for a couple of years.
I'm kind of pissed. Correa is a much better third baseman than Donaldson, and we
Yes.
could have had him for $1.5 billion more. Obviously, that's just counting this year. I'm not thinking about the 11 plus years, but just for this year alone in 2023, we could have had Carlos Correa. Well, not we, but the Yankees could have had Carlos Correa playing third base, and we could have told Donaldson to kick rocks somewhere. But they believe in him. Boone said today on High Heat, yeah, we think he's going to turn it around. Bro, I hate that. We'll talk about that a little bit later because we're going to be talking about management today. But I don't like it.
Boone's your boy.
I know, and I don't like it. I think he's him and Alex were in the room together, hotboxing somewhere. I don't know.
Whoa. You just brought up a grievance on Boone. This is Festivus Eve. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
It's okay, Alex. Don't get so excited, man.
I am excited.
Why
You're
is
gonna
the camera moving? Chill out, bro. It's okay.
All right, so Jalen Watkins asks us, what could go wrong for the Yankees if they don't go all the way this year?
They don't win.
Okay. Oh, Alex made it pure and simple. They know pure and simple.
Yeah.
What could go wrong? I mean, they get a handful of the guys that they have on the team. They go by. They let the contract ends. They move on from them, and they kind of they do a full. Honestly, Jalen, they do the reset. They start really diving into prospects that they have right now. I mean, they really start believing in because they have a lot of guys that are knocking on the door. Besides Anthony Volpe, who's really knocking on the door, and Hal Steinberg's already said that he envisions him and Peraza as the middle infield of the future, of the present and future. In addition to that, you do have guys like Pereira, Dominguez, Jones. Jones is a little bit further away than those guys, but he looks like he's closing the gap on them real fast. Elijah Dunham's there, and Elijah Dunham's a winner. Let's put it that way. Let's put that out there. Everywhere he's gone so far in the system, he's won, and he was a non-drafted college guy, and he's just come in there and he's got that factor. You know what I'm saying? Like he's got that in him that he's just going to push forward. You guys still got Austin Wells there, Trey Sweeney's there as well, and Trey Sweeney, I see Sweeney as definitely as a trade piece. Wells, I was reading that that Wells is going to be getting some reps in left field, and with Judge now in the mix for the next 5 years at least as the primary right fielder, you're going to have to figure something out where someone's going to, where one of these guys is not going to be, at least a couple of these guys aren't going to be around because, like I said, we got Dunham, got Dominguez, got Pereira. All those guys right there are in double A ball. You got Jones in high A ball coming up. And then come January 15th, we'll be signing Brandon Maea, and he's high-end center fielder, who should be sticking at center field for the foreseeable future. And he's that kind of guy that if everything lines up correctly, when Judge moves to the full-time DH, you can bring Maea in and be your full-time center fielder or left fielder or whatever it is, case may be at that point, and kind of have someone there ready and willing to go. Like that's what I envision.
Yeah. I mean, if we go, if Houston does what they did to us again, like we just had to find ways to get offense, and whatever that looks like, we may be forced to get rid of the prospects and go all in on somebody. maybe like Otani, like Derek from last week was talking about. Who knows? Like we would do something drastic to improve the offense. I think if we get kind of embarrassed like we did this past year.
We fire Boone.
It wouldn't be Moon's fault to not when the guys don't hit. All right, it's not.
And he's back on Earth. Everybody, he's back, ladies and
I
gentlemen.
will say one thing. After if things happen this year, I think Boone has a better shot of being fired at this year as opposed to last year. I didn't think they were going to fire him last year. I think there's a better if things go south again, he's got a better shot being let go after this year because at that point it's only he would have been on lame duck contract for the following year. So they only got to pay him whatever his contract is for 1 year, and he can do whatever he wants.
I think the Yankees just have to be consistent. If the Yankees are consistent, right? And what I mean by consistent, like paying 10 to 20 games over 500, there's a lot of time, like in Aaron Boone's tenure, where the Yankees have been 500. Like they've been very mediocre for long periods of time, and they've also been very good for long periods of time. We've been very streaky under Aaron Boone, and I would like to get that changed. I'm not sure how realistic that is in the landscape of baseball and how competitive things are, because this game is a lot different than what we saw growing up. The Yankees that we saw, we dominated. We were ahead.
Baseball was different then too, anyway. Like
exactly.
Baseball
there was no parity.
was 15 years ago. It was not even that long ago. It's just 15 years ago.
Well, you guys are young. I still remember going to Yankee Stadium in the 80s. So.
Yeah, no,
that was also a different type of baseball too. But that's the thing, though. Baseball does historically. It has its changes. It has its regresses. This is a change that's going on. Like Mark, you are right when you bring up the 80s too.
Yeah.
But going back to something that you were saying before, Alex, you were so happy that Danny got back on the Boone bandwagon.
I wasn't happy.
Jalen jumped in and goes, Danny will always give him a lifeboat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Jalen, you ain't lying.
Going to Dave. Get that our brother's not here today. I guess he was with me and Booney that day. You know, Danny, because he's with me. that back worries him.
About Correa?
Yep. The back worries him.
I get it. But give me 5 good years of Carlos Correa over 1 terrible year of Josh Tomlin.
But let yours over here thinking it's going to be 5 good years. What if it's like half a season and then all of a sudden he's limping out there?
But Rizzo has back problems too. We don't know the extent of the issues with the back
But
problems.
Rizzo is going to be here like what? Maybe 2 more years and then an option.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be real.
For a third, yeah.
Okay, where Correa, we would have had him for like what, 7 years? I don't want him for 7 years. Then he's limping out there for 7 years. Like,
but he's more sustainable. Yeah, but he's more sustainable at third base than he is at shortstop.
Mm-hmm. I don't like him as a shortstop long term. Hell no, never in a billion years. But at third base, that changes everything for me.
I also don't think the Yankees would ever look at him, not because of the Astro thing, but because of the connection to A-Rod. Like he looks up to A-Rod just like Manny Machado does, and you saw how the Yankees didn't even give Machado real contract offers when they had the ability. And both Correa and Machado were sitting there screaming, and even Bryce Harper, they all screamed out like, "No, I'm going to New York. I'm going to be a Yankee," and they didn't even come calling. So
I mean, just talking like BS and everything like that, like and hypotheticals, and we don't know the inside doors and everything like that. Like, let's be real. Who was there this week? They called who they called. They called Jeter up. They didn't. They're not calling. They're not going to be calling A-Rod over for a third baseman coming over, but they will call Jeter over for a captain type thing. And they're like, oh my gosh, a big old deal going on. Like, yeah. So I'm sorry. Like, yeah, we're talking all this about A-Rod and A-Rod's doing all this good stuff, but Jeter's back. It's as easy as that. A-Rod, you ain't moving nowhere in the Yankees organization. Jeter is back and he's in charge of it. He's like, I'm in charge. I'm getting into this front office. You heard the talks going on with him and Michael K. It sounds like he's working his way back into front office type stuff and working like something like with the Yankee organization. That's my speculation from what I heard. It's looking on. Yes.
Well, Hal also basically been saying like he's bringing Jeter back into the fold. I mean, don't forget for what 4 years or even this past year too. You know, Jeter was part of the Miami Marlins, so there was a time like he was for 4 years he was a
couldn't
C,
do anything.
right, he was a CEO, and then he turns around, then he steps down, and then he takes the break from baseball for the year. Now he's the itch is it seems like the itch is there again. And he's coming back to do something with the sport. So
He's doing something not just with the sport. He's coming back to do something home. That's what he's doing something with. It's not that he's doing something in Miami or he's doing something in Michigan or no. He came home and decided I'm gonna do what I gotta do to help my home, just like Jackie did. Jackie came back and did what he had to do to help the Yankees in the 90s. And okay, like let's be real. He sucked up all the BS that him and George are going through and said, I want to help this organization. Let's be real. He was out there going to old timers games and all that kind of stuff.
He's talking about Reggie Jackson, right?
Yeah, Reggie.
Yeah.
Okay.
because I was lost when you said Jackie. I'm going, what
my
are you
bad,
talking about?
my bad. I didn't even realize
I got you, Alex, man.
Yeah, but Alex, I'll
Thank
say
you.
one thing. It's with Reggie Jackson. Reggie Jackson was never the problem. Reggie Jackson and George Steinbrenner never had the big problems. It was
we know who the problem was. It was the drunk. We know that.
It was Yogi Berra and Yogi Berra and George Steinbrenner had the big problem. Yogi Berra was the one who they had to convince him to come back. And it took a long time for him to come back. And when they finally got him back, that's when everyone loved him again. But speaking of, I want to change gears for a quick second here. Speaking of George, and speaking of ownership, let's kind of give we're at the last bit of the year of 2022, so it's time we can close out the year and close out our books by giving how everyone felt that the management of the Yankees did in this year and how they're looking, and since they made some moves, how it's looking for 2023. Danny, I'm going to go with you. How did from top to bottom, from Hal down to Boone, how do you feel they did? The good, bad, whatever you want, put it all on the table.
Well, I guess final grade for Hal has to be an A. At the midterm, he had like a C minus. Like he was getting booed at Yankee Stadium. No one liked him. He was not spending money. But to do the deal with Aaron Judge and him do it personally, he earned himself an A. And it's well deserved. We got our captain, we got our guy, and we brought him home. Brian Cashman had nothing to do with it, so he gets he gets an F. No, I'm just playing.
Yes.
No, he gets a C minus because of the deadline deals that he made that didn't pan out for 2022. And I'm talking about Montas. I'm talking about he can't control Efros's injury, but Efros was not effective. Trevino was okay, and he gave up a boatload of prospects. And now those prospects we can't even use in a Brian Reynolds deal.
You were kind. You're kind for
I
giving
think
me a C.
C minus. C minus.
No, man.
And
D plus in his mouth.
what?
A D right in his mouth. D plus.
Oh God,
right
you repeated it. Okay, all right. I thought you said that. I was like,
right there.
I didn't watch
right
it.
there.
All right. Anyway, and I probably give Boone a B minus because he was part of the decision team, the decision process to not play Peraza, and I think that was the worst decision that he made, and that knocked him down a lot. He managed Judge very well, obviously, to see the MVP. Garrett Cole had a good year. Nestor Cortez had a great year. So I think he did a good job of managing the starters' workload with the bullpen and keeping guys healthy. You already know Giancarlo is going to get hurt. Giancarlo always gets hurt. So I'm not, he can't control that. But to be able to play Judge, to play Judge 157 games and manage that workload even in center field, putting him in center, because that was a huge deal putting him in center. That was a great move.
I'm shooting on that one, actually. Taking the gamble, like legitimately taking the gamble and saying, and everybody out there from the media is just saying, why are you putting him in center? Why are you putting him in center? Why are you putting? And then like, I don't care what you are going to say to me. And they put him in center, and they decide, and they just shoot the crapshoot. And they were like, what happened? Well, look at that. He's one of the best center fielders out there, and he's not a pure center fielder. He's supposed to be a left fielder.
Yeah, right fielder.
I mean, a right fielder. My bad, right fielder.
Yeah. It's okay.
It's getting late.
We're getting tired. Yeah, but I give Boone a B minus. Cashman, did I say C minus or C something in the
You
C?
gave
Cashman
Cash
C minus.
Yeah, you gave Cash a
Yeah.
C minus. You gave Hal an A, and then you gave
Yep.
Boone a B minus.
Mhm.
Yep. So, you see, I'm not a Boone lover, guys. I give him an A plus. All
All
right.
right, what do you got? All right, Alex, what about you?
Gotta give it the boss. He got or should I say baby boss? He got a A plus. Definitely got an A plus. He as Dave puts out there into the chat, he said Hal got booed on Jeter night and was a turning point. And I'm glad he hit it in the right way, and I have to agree with him on that one because ever since Jeter night when he was getting booed, he decided to change things up. And yeah, like applause to you, sir. Applause because you 72 hours ago I was okay. Yeah, there's no ink on paper. There's nothing going on. And then 72 hours later, we got Judge being captain right now, and we got Rodon right now. Like, yeah, good job. You got a solid A1. You got your GPA is perfect right now, sir. Now for Cashman, yeah, I already said mine. I'm not gonna repeat that again, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry. And for Boone, I'll give him a C plus because he did do good. Like, because at one point, in my opinion, I had him in a D, like legitimately a D. So I'm not gonna say he did so well, especially at the end of the season, like at that tail end when we were horrible, and we were just out here yelling, getting mad every day about all the stupidity that he was doing as the coach. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna be kind enough to give him a B, but I will say, you know what? You got a passing score, you got a C. C. That's it.
Okay,
And
I
if he
see where you
doesn't do good, he could see ya.
All right, I'll go down the line. I'm not giving Hal an A because there's no. I don't believe he deserves an A. The re-signing of a Judge doesn't warrant an A, in my opinion, because that was something that should have been handled beforehand, and it still took to the last minute to get it done because all the reports were that Judge was going elsewhere. Hal had to come in there and quote unquote save the day by upping the price and doing whatever he needed to do and making that personal touch, even though he was doing that from beforehand, and still Judge was still going. I'm still, and they still were lowballing him up until that point, till they matched the Giants offer. So everything Hal was doing still didn't have an effect until the numbers, till Judge got the number he wanted, and he played the number right. So we played Hal in that sense. Um, all the moves that were happening before, all the way that Hal kind of has treated the team so far, I would give him more of a um I'd give him a B minus because you got Judge. They brought Judge back, which is great, but you still have him for way too many years at a way high salary, and Judge he capitalized on a great year, so that's where I stand on Hal. Cashman, I'm in the B range for Cashman because as much as we were crapping on for deals that kind of fell apart for him at the trade deadline, he seemed to be the guy that in the end got us Carlos Rodon, and Rodon's is if Cole's is your 1A, Rodon's your 1B, and then Sevy's a 1C, so they're all number ones to me. So he got him not just anything, but he got a lefty ace that's high, throws high fastballs, and then it's got sliders that can bust out on both lefties and righties, and that's what you need. I think that um, Cashman the past couple the deal that Cashman did in the offseason for IKF and JD that kind of really soured with everybody. But the deals he was making the trade line beforehand did well for him. But I don't know. I think Cashman did a B because it gets in the B range because I also think that he's very hamstrung and handcuffed by what Hal has wanted up until this point. Now that Hal's agreed that that they have to make more moves, I think Cashman's going to be given more latitude and more leeway to move forward.
So do you believe then that Hal is going to become Steve Cohen as well. Then is he going to be doing that as well, type of money, or is he? I don't know. What do you think?
I don't think he's going to go down that road. I think that he's going to play at the top of the luxury tax.
Hmm.
I don't think he's going to go Steve Cohen road and go over that luxury tax.
Okay. Okay. Just
So
wanted to know.
yeah,
how you-
and it was called the Steve Cohen. It's called, and the 293 is called the Steve Cohen luxury tax for a reason. Because everyone, the minute he bought the team, that everybody was just scared that he was going to just go turn around, just blow right by it, and not care.
And he
So,
did.
oh, he did this year. I think Hal's going to stay in the. I think Hal will go high, and then he'll go with that range, and then he'll bring it back down, and he'll kind of play in. He'll play in those within that range for a while, but he's not going to go over that number. Especially if we're all saying that he turns around and gets all these prospects coming in, that will then take pressure off that'll relieve salary restraints, and then you can spend money going elsewhere. So that's where I think. And going to Boone, Boone's Boone's a C in the C range. I can't forgive him for the stupidity of continuing playing IKF when he knew that he couldn't do it. I can't forgive the stupidity in the playoffs of not playing Peraza when IKF was so badly missing everything out there. Like, it just wasn't missing the mark. I think that he also kept running Judge out there at the end when he shouldn't have had they should have given him days off. And I think Boone should have been the one fighting for him to get days off more so than anything else, instead of running 50, 60 games in a row. And we're talking about playing baseball when you should be playing 150 to 160 games, on a regular. That's what a regular player should do. But at the end of the season, when you kind of need some time off of your feet, he needed to have that time to kind of relax, get his mind straight, and get ready for the postseason. And they kind of didn't. They kind of put the money ahead of him, and it all falls on Boone that he didn't manage. He didn't manage Judge in the sense of giving him time off that possibly could have gotten him the 60-second plus, and more so earlier, because they just kept running him out there. And then, like I said, the debacles in the playoffs of shortstops, and then continually playing Josh Donaldson when he shouldn't have been out there was another knock on him. So that's where I stand there.
So this is one of my favorite stats from the entire season. Without Aaron Judge in August, the Yankees' WAR was 0.4. The same as the Pittsburgh Pirates. Okay? So we needed Judge to play every day. We didn't have an offense without Aaron Judge in 2022. But it is a great debate to have. I see where you're coming from, Mark, thinking bigger picture, but it's so easy to get encapsulated into the day-to-day.
And I'm talking September. I'm talking September at that point, not August.
Okay.
I'm talking September, because it's September is when he got 60, he got 61. But then he was really, you can see on his face, you could see in the body language that he was really pressing when it came to hitting these home runs, and hit balls that he was normally hitting, he was late on or he was underneath because he was changing his swing to do that. So a day off here and day off there to kind of get him to reset would have been the move to do. And Cashman fighting for that, Boone fighting for that, even if it was on the road. Like, yo, give him a day off on the road. Keep him. You want to play him every day at home. Give the fans everything they want there. Give him a day off on the road.
I think it was Toronto was that one of those days where it's like, yo, like, you just hit 61, we're about to wrap up this series. We already wrapped up the AL East. Like, bro, take a day. But Judge wants to play. And you're right. Boone should have been like, nah, bro, you're taking a seat. So we'll see. But I still think we still won 99 games. The playoffs were terrible, but, it is what it is.
Yep. Well, we do have one more poll. Let me just bring it up right quick. In the spite of Rodon signing today, do the Yankees have the best rotation in baseball, which is Cole, Rodon, Sevy, Cortez, Montes? If not, then who does? Comment below. And the way the poll is, 5.6% of our viewers are drunk because they said nope, and 94.4% of us agreed that for big old hell yeah.
How many votes are we up to now with that?
143
So like 5 people
are
that not.
drunk.
Yeah, and
Or they're Mets fans.
yeah, or the like, yo, like tell us who. We're still waiting. Are there comments under that as to who is?
Actually, oh wait a minute, we do have some comments.
Because I asked, I was like, yo, like,
still
no?
waiting. Okay, I still waiting on the 4% to tell us who. Nobody said anything.
All right.
One person's put who's the 2% that said no, because at one point it was 2%, and then I replied to him. I was like, no clue, but it's now 1% because at that point when I voted, it became 1%. Yes, and not that close. And another one with a GIF saying no question about it. Martin Lawrence from oh my gosh, I forgot that movie's name. Yeah, whatever. Who cares?
Trolls. That's who's commenting no. People are like, oh, slipped
basically.
up and pressed no by accident.
Basically, yeah. Heck,
some hating Mets fans and Red Sox fans and Astros fans.
Red Sox fans have nothing to worry about, man. Their ownership's imploding in that team.
Boone should be out of a job.
I don't even want to get involved with that one. Come on, that's not even our. Let's just stay out of that one.
Come on, yeah. You know what we're doing? This is what the Yankees are doing. They're turning around. They're going to let Donaldson walk after this year, and then they'll sign Rafi Devers. So Rafi Devers can show up every day in pinstripes.
I would love that.
Lefty
bat hitting bombs. Oh yeah, I don't care what defense he plays. Yo, like play average defense at third. There's gonna be some bombs. You know.
I mean,
Red Sox fans will love that team. Will love that ownership after that.
Chaim Bloom will be chased out of town. Oh my
God! It's not going to be even his fault. It's John Henry's fault. John Henry's fault is running. He's ran out of. This will be the third GM he's run or president of baseball ops. He's going to be running out of town. Ben Sherrington, he ran out of town because they said, "Oh, we need you to do this." And he went ahead and did that. They go, "Okay, now you're gone." Browski comes in there. Browski comes in there, does all that stuff. Boom, they go, "Okay, it's time for an extension." Like, no, we're good. We're good right now. You tore up our farm system. Okay, you're done. Okay. Chaim Bloom comes in. Okay, just run it like the Rays. Oh, you're not going to give any salaries out. Okay, no, we're good with that.
All right, whatever.
Oh,
this is
that's rough. You know, baseball's best when it's Yankees, Red Sox.
No. Baseball's best. Baseball's best when New York is doing good. And as much as we want to talk trash about them right now, that's going to include the Mets. As long as the Mets and the Yankees are doing well in baseball, guess what? Baseball as a whole is doing well.
Yeah.
I want to say that about the Mets because the Mets have always been Mets have been such a bottom feeder for a while, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but because of what the Wilpons had happened and allowed to happen, they weren't.
But that was the Wilpons. You also got to remember the history of the Mets. The Mets, as they're not as around as have been around as long as the Yankees have. They do have a history in that city. It's okay. Like you have all the old Dodger fans, all the old Giants fans that were growing up there. That once they left and they had nothing, they became Mets fans.
Well, yes, because the Mets colors are Dodger blue and Giant orange.
100%. Okay, and
then
Yankee
pinstripes.
Yeah, exactly.
and then you got. And then you got like the 80s Mets and the 60s Mets when the Mets first came up, they had that little bit of a run, and then in the 80s were like people were going crazy for the 80s Mets.
The Mets will always be our little brother, but
they 100% will 1000% be our redheaded stepchild.
Yeah, 100%. But we've had a lot of involvement, a lot of interactions with the polls. So I want to say thank you to everybody that interacts with us on Twitter.
Yes,
it makes it fun, makes the off season kind of go by. So I think over the past week we probably had like 1,000 votes total over our polls.
Give or take.
So we appreciate that.
No, absolutely.
And please continue being active with us.
Yeah, we'll be definitely. We want to wish everybody happy holidays. keep it all inclusive for everybody. We got Alex likes to do Festivus, so want to make sure we recognize that as well.
I
Happy
learned
New
it from Seinfeld.
and also Happy New Year to everybody as well. We'll be back. We got
Yes.
some cool things coming up in the new year, especially now we start, have the podcast rocking and rolling, and we didn't do it during started during a lockout, which was always a great time to start. But and our producer Manny wants to wish everyone a Merry Christmas as well. So yeah, for everyone, thanks again for listening today. Like I said, always check out our link tree, link.tree/Real Bronx Muchachos. For Manny, for Dave, for Danny, rocking the captain right there. For Alex, going rogue at times. This is Mark, Bronx Muchachos signing off. Happy holidays, everyone. See you in the new year.